Hello guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I just hope that you're doing fine wherever you are as usual. So today's video, it's a clear understanding that both Africans and African Americans, we still have a long way to go when it comes to understanding the history of each other. And I feel like we need to take our time to try understand the history of each other. And as you usually know, we have a group of people who have gone through a lot of things. Their ancestors, our ancestors, have gone through a lot of things. Another thing that I would like to say first is I would like to give credit to the Penguins of Uganda. Before just watching this video, I happened to watch his channel and I found this video, and I hope that it is important if we see how some of us might be misinformed about our brothers and sisters, African Americans or Black Americans or American Blacks. It's a topic of understanding each other and what are the misconceptions that we have against each other. So we have these African women. Actually, there are two African women who are going to show how we haven't taken our time, both sides, to get to understand each other, because you understand the narrative that it's easier for me as an African to say that, oh, Black Americans keep on complaining about things that they should not complain about. But if you come to understand their history, you'll get to know that the story is not the same. There is something deeper than just saying that they have all the privileges of making money back in the US. They have the privileges of working hard just like any other group. And I feel like we need to talk. We need to get out there and tell people the truth, get to understand the disparities, the differences that we have between each of us. Because me, I'll tell you what, I don't see a big difference between an African and the African American. I don't see a bigger difference because honestly, for a person like me, an African, I can't say that I'm so much good in this, but I can say that I'm not the same person who I'm just not the same Eugene, because I took my time to try to understand things which happened to our brothers and sisters. And so for me, at least I can say, if I can go to the US today, I know the do's and I know the don'ts as for the people of the Black community. So the two sisters, they are going to share their views upon what's happening to Black children, and another sister also is going to share about how he felt his disconnection with African Americans. So I want us to watch this video as usually know, and then come back, say something as usual. I hope to meet you on the other side of the video. You know, we usually talk, so let's get into it.
Wow, you did not just history lesson, y'all. So I come from a country called Kenya. This is our beautiful flag, okay? Kenya. Yep. We were colonized by the Brits. We got our independence in 1963. I, like you, could use that as an excuse to hate people who don't look like me. However, I'm living my life differently, because I understand white people are not a monolith. That those who live now have nothing to do with what happened in the past. My husband's grandpa, his opa, used to be a Wehrmacht soldier. You know what that means? Look it up. But he came to America because he did not want that life anymore. Started a new life here. Held no prejudice against anyone, despite the fact that he came from Nazi Germany. It's a choice you make. You are making the choice to hate people based on their skin tone and justifying it because black people can be racist. Stop it. You are the one teaching younger generations to be afraid of the cops, to hate people who don't look like them, and that they are oppressed because of their skin tone, and teaching them to weaponize their skin tone and use it as a crutch and a way to blame everyone else for their problems. Do better. I want to keep living my life and teaching my children they are not colors. Good luck.
You wrote, so if someone that isn't white hates on a white person based on their skin color, what do you call that? You're not going to like my answer. I call it justifiable. White-bodied people have conquered and colonized almost this entire planet. As a history teacher, I teach my students about the scramble for Africa, in which all of these European countries came together to decide which parts of Africa they were going to colonize. And then about the age of exploration, in which Europeans sailed over to the Western Hemisphere and committed genocide against any and every indigenous population they came across. And then I teach about the transatlantic slave trade, and then slavery, and then Jim Crow, and then the war on drugs, and then mass incarceration, and then about people that deny the experience of Black, Brown, Indigenous, and other people of color to this day. So you ask me what I call a person that hates on a white person because they're white? I call them a reasonable human being who's just making decisions based on reason and experience.
I'm laughing because I did a video for my comedy special, African in New York, Almost Famous. And I took a segment of that video, and it was about how I felt no connection with Black Americans. And in this video, I explain that I felt no connection with Black Americans because having been born in Kenya and having been educated in Kenya, I know for sure that, and I consider myself to be fairly educated, that yes, I had heard about the word slave trade, but I had never known what that meant. And I had not even anticipated or made the connection between the people in America and slave trade. I had no idea. I did not even know about colonialism. Yes, I kind of knew the British were in Kenya because we celebrate Independence Day, but I didn't actually know what that meant. And the time I made this discovery was after the death of my father, when I started to research for my memoir, Through the Leopard's Gaze. And that's when I really understood what colonialism was, because I actually understood what my mother used to tell me. The places she told me that she used to live wasn't a place, it was a concentration camp. I went to Zanzibar, and I went to a place called the Weeping Post. And there, I was so shocked to find out what happened to the slaves and how they were bought, how they were captured, the songs that they sang songs like, please don't eat us, we'll give you meat, because they didn't know where they were being taken. They thought that the white people were taking them to go and eat them. They had no idea. So as a result, a lot of Africans have been commenting on my videos saying that Africans know about slave trade. But what do you really know about slave trade? What do you really know about colonialism? Because we are brainwashed to only have a fleeting kind of a glimpse of what that is, without any in-depth information about it. So please, please, please read more about colonialism and slavery, and then you'll understand what the Black Americans went through.
First, it is so inconsiderate and so insensitive of this person to call out people that are just trying to express the things that are really, really happening. I don't know if it has to happen to you first for you to understand, because I know a lot of our brothers and sisters that have been speaking like you, but until these things start happening to them, that is when they know the system is rotten and wicked, and it really do not favor people that look like you. You're trying to pretend as if Black people are not called monkeys. You're trying to pretend as if Black people are not called ugly and are told to go back to Africa.
Here I am checking in at a hotel, and the lady who's checking me in goes, "You're really pretty to be a dark-skinned girl." Usually I don't say anything. I thought about it, I'm like, nah. I told her straight up, that's not a compliment. It's not a compliment at all. She's like, yeah, I'm just saying, like, to be dark like you're really pretty. You saying it again in a different way doesn't make it better. And I told her, that's not a compliment. Like, that to me sounds like a colorist ass statement. You're basically implying that just being pretty isn't associated with being dark skinned. Like, it's two separate things. And I was like, that's not a compliment. Like, at this point, just check me in. You know, I told her it's a colorist statement, it's not a compliment.
Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. I just hope that again you are doing just fine. So this video generally, while I looked at it, I found some loopholes between some of us here back in the motherland Africa, and now it makes to me sense when I hear fellow Africans say that Black Americans or African Americans, they have a lot of privileges that they need to, take care of. And when you will go to the US, you'll understand that the privileges that you're talking about, it is not them that are benefiting out of it, but it is other group who also are under the under the umbrella of minorities. For instance, we have the Hispanics. For instance, we have African immigrants. We have different immigrants from Mexico who also enjoy these things. So it's easier for a person to just come and say, you guys, you have a lot of privileges. When I go to the US, I can make a lot of money. And there's a video that I saw back then of these African old man who said that we are not brothers and sisters, we and African Americans, and I felt so bad about it. And it is not also Africans themselves. I've also seen, I've also heard, I've also interacted with people or Black Americans or African Americans, if I am allowed to say that, who also say that they are not our brothers and sisters. And while I looked at this problem, I saw to it that the problem is one, we don't understand each other. That is the misunderstanding. And that is why I do really congratulate the diasporans who come back to Africa, regardless of the country that you go, just come to, understand things which are happening here in Africa. Because for me, what I know is that, and this is the truth, most of Africans who leave Africa to go to the US are not going to reconnect with anything. They're going for economical purposes. But it is hard. It is so rare for you to find an African American coming to Africa for economical purposes. Of course, they are. But look at the percentages, Most of African Americans who are coming back to Africa are just coming back to connect with their motherland, are coming to connect with the locals, or maybe a quarter of larger percentage who come for commercial purposes. And so with that, I will say that I usually salute, I usually congratulate African American brothers and sisters who come to the diaspora to, get to see what's happening, get to understand, come and make those mistakes. Come, let's have a fight in the motherland so that we get to understand each other. We get to understand our cultures, For example, let me take you back to what happened in Ghana. I don't know exactly which year, but this was when these African American women danced in the slave dungeon, They never danced in the slave dungeon because they know what was happening is wrong, but it is because they didn't understand the values of Africans. Because if these are our ancestors who left here, who are taken as, I like to say workers, the word slave doesn't go to me very well. So who are taken as workers back in the US, and they dancing to this clearly shows that there is a misunderstanding, there is a miseducation, there is something that they still don't know. And I feel like it is not. And I feel like it is not only for Africans, but also for African Americans. So my pledge to you is I will continue learning more and more and more. And I hope we get to know more about each other. And for those who are coming to the motherland, for coming to Kenya, you can, say hi and trace me, I can trace you. And let's get to know each other, We kind of not getting along because we haven't taken our time to get to know our histories, to get to know what happened to our ancestors, And this is one thing that our system has also failed us. Because if you look at the history that our curriculum is suffering to us, that's part of the history that our curriculum is suffering to us. the part of history that our curriculum is offering to us is not that much enough to suffice the knowledge of slavery, the knowledge of our brothers and sisters who were taken to the US. There's so many things which have been eliminated. And if you take the African history, which is offered here in Kenya, for instance, and if you take the Black American history, especially the Black history, you'll get there's so much information which has been eliminated in our curriculum when it comes to the Black history. And yeah, I mean, it's just that. So it begins with our institutions. If we could find a way of incorporating these messages to our own people so they can get to know what's happening to, us, it's easier for us to get along. It's easier for us to learn amongst each other. Number two, I would like to say that we also need to take advantage. We also need to take advantage of the internet, get to learn much about each other. There's so many valuable videos here on TikTok, here on YouTube, that a person can get to know and learn, so that we can demystify, get to know our differences, get to know what other party doesn't like, get to know what's adding to the other group, get to know what people like, and get to know our cultures, our differences, and everything. So guys, I'd like you to tell me what you think about this in the comment section. Of course, this is Eugene Talk Stories. If you're watching this video kindly consider subscribing to my channel. You can go check the sister who shared this video. She's called Penguins of Uganda. Go check her content, subscribe to her channel, share some love to this African lady from Uganda. So let's meet on my next video. You can always join my membership anytime you want. You can check out what my content has for you. And until then, peace, love, and harmony. Salute.